Scrotal swelling. This case presentation is the first in the series of cassette clinics of general surgery prepared by Dr. Ghanashyam Vaidya from Karnataka Health Institute Ghataprabha, an ex-student of Seth GS Medical College and the KEM Hospital, Mumbai. A 40 years old male Hindu patient, Ramlal, staying in Parel, a manual laborer, comes with complaints of a swelling in the scrotum since 2 years. The patient was apparently alright 2 years back when he first accidentally noticed a small swelling in the right side of the scrotum. It gradually increased in size to the present size over 1 year and is constant since then. It does not increase in size on straining, no history of decrease in size on lying down or compressing it, no history of rapid increase in size. When will there be a rapid increase in size? Sir, in a testicular tumor. And which scrotal swelling will decrease in size on lying down? Sir, inguinal hernias, varicocele and lymph varix, which decrease rapidly on lying down or compression, and congenital hydrocele, which will slowly reduce over few minutes to hours. Is there any other swelling in the body which reduces on lying down? Sir, all other types of hernias like umbilical, ventral or incisional hernias, and in the legs varicose veins. Yes, go ahead. Regarding complications, no history of pain and fever, no history of vesicles or exudation from the skin, no history of ulceration or discharging sinuses, no history of difficulty in micturition or intercourse. Regarding etiology, concomitant with the onset, there was no history of trauma. Why? For hematocele, or trauma might have just attracted the patient's attention to a pre-existing swelling. There is no history of fever with chills with inguinal pain and swelling, no history of edema of feet. That is to rule out filariasis. How does filariasis give rise to a scrotal swelling? Sir, firstly, due to collection of fluid in the tunica vaginalis, that is hydrocele and chylocele. Secondly, due to dilatation of lymphatics, lymph varix and lymph scrotum. And lastly, in late stages, elephantiasis of the scrotal skin. To repeat, hydrocele and chylocele, lymph varix and lymph scrotum, and elephantiasis. Alright, proceed. No history of exposure to venereal diseases, burning micturition or white discharge per urethra. To rule out gonococcal epididymoarchitis. Can this swelling be gonococcal epididymoarchitis? No sir, because this is a painless and long-standing swelling and there is no history of exposure to venereal disease. Any other significance of venereal disease in scrotal swelling? Sir, gamma of the testis in tertiary syphilis also produces a scrotal swelling but is very rare now. Yes. There is no history suggestive of renal or pulmonary tuberculosis. What symptoms did you ask for? Sir, for renal tuberculosis, I asked for frequency of micturition, pyuria, hematuria, dysuria and joint pains. For pulmonary tuberculosis, I asked for cough with expectoration, hemoptysis, constitutional symptoms like evening rise of temperature, sweating, loss of appetite, loss of weight, and history of contact with a known case of tuberculosis. But what has pulmonary tuberculosis to do with a scrotal swelling? Sir, urogenital tuberculosis is always secondary to a primary focus elsewhere in the body, usually in the lungs. Yes. How does tuberculosis produce a scrotal swelling? Sir, tuberculosis produces nodular enlargement of the epididymis, secondary hydrocele, and thickening of the vas with beading. Proceed. No history of rapid loss of weight or lump in the upper abdomen. Right. You asked this for a malignancy in the testis. Yes, sir. Suppose this patient had a testicular tumor. What type of tumor is it likely to be? Sir, it is likely to be a seminoma because the patient is middle-aged, about 40 years age, while teratomas are common in a younger age group of 20 to 30 years. Good. No history of tapping or any operation in relation to the swelling. Family history and personal history are not contributory. On examination, on general examination, the patient is averagely built. No, proceed with the local examination. On local examination, on inspection in standing position. Why standing position? To look for any enlargement of the swelling on standing. To look for the presence of a hernia or varicocele which may be totally missed in lying down position even with cuffing. And if a hernia be present, to note the extent of the hernia which is fully reached only in standing position. So on inspection in standing position, a single swelling in the right side of scrotum 10 by 8 by 5 centimeters in size. That's right. Whenever possible, always mention the measurements in 3 dimensions. It is a well-defined globular swelling with a smooth surface and a slight constriction around its middle portion. Suppose the swelling had a nodule on its surface. Sir, depending on the consistency, I would think of malignancy of the testis if firm to hard, or hernia of the hydrocele sac if soft and cystic. What is that? Sir, in a long-standing and tense hydrocele, there is atrophy of the overlying layers and a herniation of the tunica vaginalis through a defect in the cremaster muscle and spermatic fascia. So the sac is covered only by the skin. This is known as the hernia of the hydrocele sac. Go ahead. The overlying skin shows diminished rugosities, no thickening, no redness or edema, no vesicles, ulcers or sinuses, no scar of previous surgery or infection. Where do you get all these abnormalities? Sir, rugosities are diminished or absent in tuberculous epididymitis and exaggerated in filarial limb scrotum. Edema occurs in filarial elephantiasis or part of generalized anasarca or extravasation of urine and around an infective lesion. A sinus on the posterior aspect is diagnostic of tuberculous epididymitis, while an ulcer on the anterior aspect is from a burst gumma of testis. Can a sinus on the anterior aspect be due to tuberculosis? Yes, sir. If the testis is anteverted, a condition seen in 7 to 8% of males, the epididymis lies anteriorly, so the tuberculous sinus will open on the anterior surface. It may be confirmed by palpating the opposite testis. Yes. And what is the cause of excoriation of skin in large hydroceles? Firstly, in a very large hydrocele, the penis gets buried in the scrotum. The patient is not able to force a stream of urine, so urine dribbles over the scrotum and causes excoriation. Second reason is the rubbing of scrotal skin with the medial aspect of the thighs while walking. And lastly, it may be due to practice of applying irritant herbal preparations over the swelling that excoriate the skin. Proceed. On cuffing, there is no visible expansile impulse in the swelling or over the inguinal canal. On palpation, there is no local rise of temperature, no tenderness. Very good. Whatever the case, temperature and tenderness are always the first to be tested on palpation. Go ahead. The top of the swelling can be reached. Now, what do you mean by that? That is, by palpating between the thumb in front and fingers behind, it is possible to reach the upper limit of the swelling within the scrotum, and only the cord structures are palpable below the external inguinal ring. What do you mean by saying only the cord structures? That is the firm whipcord-like vas and the fibers of the cremaster muscle felt as a number of strings. What does it signify? It indicates that the swelling is purely scrotal. So the swelling is well defined with a smooth surface and a cystic consistency. Which swellings in the scrotum have a cystic consistency? Sir, all types of hydrocele, chylocele, recent hematocele, spermatocele, cyst of epididymis, cysts of hydatid of Morgagni, and cystic areas in a teratoma. The swelling is not reducible or compressible. What is the difference between reducibility and compressibility? Sir, reducible swelling is one which reduces in size on exerting pressure and cannot regain its previous size on its own, but can do so with the aid of gravity or cuffing. Compressibility, or the sign of emptying, means that the swelling regains its size and shape spontaneously when the pressure is released, typically demonstrated in a cavernous hemangioma. Reducibility usually implies displacement of viscera, while compressibility involves emptying of fluid or blood from the swelling. Which swellings show a positive sign of emptying or compressibility? Sir, it is classically seen in cavernous hemangioma, also seen in lymphangiomas, meningoceles with narrow neck, and capillary hemangiomas. Right. Is the swelling fluctuant? Yes, sir. What do you mean by fluctuation? Sir, fluctuation is the presence of transmitted impulse in two planes at right angles to each other. Presence of transmitted impulse in two planes at right angles to each other. What does it signify? It means that the swelling contains fluid. How did you perform the test for fluctuation? Sir, I first fixed the swelling and made it tense between ring and middle fingers of both hands. I kept the thumbs and index fingers of both hands at the upper and lower pole of the swelling. Now I tested fluctuation by applying pressure by one of the fingers in turn and feeling for the displacement of diagonally opposite finger. Yes, but why did you fix the swelling? Because the scrotum is freely mobile, and if it is not fixed, the displacement of the whole swelling will give a false sense of fluctuation to the palpating finger. Yes. The swelling is fluctuant and transilluminant. How did you test for transillumination? Sir, I held the scrotal skin stretched over the swelling with my left hand and with the right hand placed a pencil torch first on the normal side to note the normal skin illumination and then over the lateral aspect of the swelling. A red glow appeared throughout the swelling, indicating that it is transilluminant. If the glow was doubtful or absent, I would have tested in a totally dark room or observed through a roll of black paper. Right, but in the examination hall, you are provided with a roll of black paper and make it a point to use it if you are asked to demonstrate transillumination. Why did you look for normal skin illumination first? Because it varies from person to person depending on the thickness of the skin, power of the torch and illumination in the examination room. And with a thin skin or a powerful torch, it may give a false impression of positive transillumination. What is your inference from the result? That the swelling contains clear fluid and the sac wall is not thickened. As the swelling is not separate from the testis, positive transillumination is diagnostic of a vaginal hydrocele. Are there any fallacies for this test? Sir, a false negative result in the presence of a hydrocele may be obtained if the fluid is opaque or if the wall is thickened due to infection or calcification in the sac or elephantiasis of the scrotal skin. Also, if the technique is wrong, for example, testing in a brightly illuminated room or holding the torch posteriorly where the testis will obstruct the light as the testis is attached to tunica vaginalis posteriorly. A false positive transillumination may be seen in congenital hernias in infants due to thin-walled intestines and thin skin, or due to false interpretation of normal skin illumination in fair persons with thin skin. When will you specifically keep the torch posteriorly? To test the transillumination in cysts of epididymis. And what is the characteristic appearance of epididymal cysts? Sir, single cysts are brightly transilluminant, and aggregation of small cysts gives a tessellated appearance which is termed as a Chinese lantern pattern. Which swellings in the scrotum are transilluminant? All types of hydroceles, epididymal cysts, cysts of hydatid of Morgagni, and sometimes spermatocele. Which swellings in the body are brilliantly transilluminant? Sir, thin-walled hydrocele, epididymal cyst, cystic hygroma in the neck, ranula in the floor of the mouth, and meningocele with a thin cover. Proceed. There is no palpable impulse on cuffing. The testis is not felt separate from the swelling. It can be palpated with difficulty in the posterior part of the swelling, but size and shape cannot be assessed. Which scrotal swellings cannot be felt separate from the testis? Sir, testicular tumors and fluid collections in the tunica vaginalis like hydrocele, pyocele, chylocele or hematocele. Proceed. The spermatic cord is slightly thickened but no nodularity of vas or bag of worms feel. Then why is the cord thickened? Probably due to hypertrophy of the cremasteric muscle fibers which bear the weight of the hydrocele. The inguinal lymph nodes of the superficial horizontal chain on both sides are enlarged half to 1 cm in size, firm, non-tender, discrete and mobile. Any significance? I don't think so, but could be enlarged due to filarial lymphadenitis. Yes, or due to infection in the hydrocele sac. Proceed. No sir, infection in the hydrocele sac will not produce enlargement of the inguinal lymph nodes. Inguinal nodes receive only the cutaneous lymphatics of the scrotum. Very good. Any other finding? The opposite testis is normal. No expansile impulse in the opposite groin. Per abdomen, no palpable lump in the epigastrium. Furcow's lymph nodes are not enlarged. I would like to do perrectal examination for hard and nodular seminal vesicles. My diagnosis is uncomplicated right primary vaginal hydrocele. Uncomplicated right primary vaginal hydrocele. Why do you say it is a hydrocele? Because it is a long-standing painless swelling which on examination surrounds the testis. The cystic in consistency is fluctuant and transilluminant. A long-standing painless swelling which on examination surrounds the testis is cystic in consistency, fluctuant and transilluminant. What is a hydrocele? Hydrocele is a collection of fluid in some part of processus vaginalis, usually the tunica vaginalis, where it is termed as the vaginal hydrocele. What does this fluid contain? It is a solution in water of inorganic salts, proteins in the form of 6% albumin and fibrinogen, and cholesterol crystals, occasionally tyrosine crystals. What are the characteristics of this fluid? Sir, it is a clear, pale yellow or amber colored fluid which has a shimmering appearance due to cholesterol crystals, and it clots on adding a drop of blood due to its high fibrinogen content. What would you like to do for this patient? Sir, I would like to investigate complete hemogram, CBC-ESR, HIV, HBsAg and HCV, urine, X-ray chest and ECG. If the patient is more than 35 years old, then blood sugar, blood urea, serum creatinine, and lastly ultrasonography of the scrotum. Okay, tell me about the treatment. Sir, I would like to operate on this patient. Why? Because the swelling is causing discomfort to the patient, and if left alone it is prone to complications. What complications? Massive enlargement of the swelling which causes burring of the penis, which causes difficulty in micturition and intercourse, repeated balanoposthitis and excoriation of the skin, hemorrhage and hematocele formation, then calcification of the wall, rupture and rarely testicular atrophy. What operations do you know of in the treatment of hydrocele? Sir, the choice of operation depends on the type of sac. In a thin and small sac, simple eversion of the sac, or Lord's plication operation, or Sharma and Zawar's subdartos pouch. For a large sac, Jabuli's operation of partial excision and eversion of the sac. And for a very thick sac, subtotal excision of the sac and underrunning of the edge for hemostasis. Suppose the hydrocele recurs a few years after surgery, what will you do? Sir, I will suspect some other condition because a vaginal hydrocele will never recur after eversion of sac. Good, that's enough. Thank you, sir. This concludes the first case presentation in the series of cassette clinics prepared by Dr. Ghanashyam Vaidya. If you have any suggestions, any corrections or any additions, please write to Dr. Ghanashyam Vaidya, Karnataka Health Institute, Ghataprabha, District Belgaum, Karnataka 591306.